This episode was brought to you in part by
The Defense of the Patient store, okay? Not anything else. It's by us. We're the one who's bringing it, and we have a store, and we have shirts, and just buy them, all right? Okay, can we do the show? The commercial's done.
You're supposed to... The pre-roll's 30 seconds.
Well, now it's shorter.
Well, what do we have on the store? Do you even know?
Shirts, dog, and, like, mugs and shit. It's all got our logo.
We do have shirts, dog, and mugs and shit. We have V-necks. We have beefy tees. We have hoodies. We have mugs.
What is a beefy tee? What the
That's
fuck
what it was. That's just what it was called, I guess. A beefy tee. It's just like a crew neck.
We're over 30 seconds now, so congratulations.
Well, now we're doing a minute pre-roll. Proud. Would you wear a Dot P shirt?
I actively do. So
I'm wearing one now. Not even shitting you.
Yeah, I ordered my parents to, so that they would believe me that this is like a real thing.
Really?
I mean, I didn't do it yet. I just told them I would.
Nice. Well, we'll order your parents too, and you guys should order your parents too at defenseofthepatients.com. Go there
for your parents. For the parents. It's all for the parents.
For your parents. Hello all, and welcome to Proudland, where it is all of Proud, and I am just a Smurf because Proud is king. That has been determined.
I feel like on every show we ever do, we always, and not just us, but like every show I've ever been a part of, we always switch up the intro. No, I guess that's mostly just this. Yeah. But like, okay, on Theorycraft Thursday, we switched up the ending, because normally it's like, it was our theory, and it was probably your fault or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then on this one, it's like, oh, Proud, half of me, because it's like, Proud is my full name, and Land is like one half of your name. And there's some shit to it. Yeah. But if we do a riff on it literally every time, the only person who's going to ever understand that we're doing a riff is like the person who listened to literally the first one.
Yeah.
So I feel like
maybe we should go back to the roots. Yeah.
We should do the original thing and then like switch it up maybe every like 2 or 3 episodes, every other. But I feel like you don't need constant riffs on a classic, otherwise there's no more classic anymore.
Yeah, classico goes away, but we wouldn't have got Frog Tapestry if it weren't for switching things up.
Yeah, but if we always switch things up, then I'm going to be hard-pressed to make a Frog Tapestry every time, and it's just not going to work out well.
And people, I've listened to that segment, it was like, oh my god, and I let you like go on for like 10 minutes, and then it just turned into this like, I don't know, this hot topic within the community where everyone's talking about this living frog tapestry where you have to feed each individual frog.
Yeah, well, you make a paste and you just let it trickle down off the top.
Like, I don't know why the idea of that is funny. And it was all centered around a green screen. It was like 4 episodes ago on Proudland, maybe 5. I don't know how long it's
really
been.
Fantastic content, truly, if you're looking to learn about Dota 2. Or
I remember I thought it was like, I'll be honest, I was like, oh god, this is just dragging on.
No.
But after listening to it, it was good. It was really good, Proud.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't fucking cut me off in the middle of my magnum opus.
And that's something I'm going to get actively better at. Is
cutting me off in the middle of my magnum opus.
Is cutting you off more and cutting Ursi off less. Do you not have an issue with? I feel like I never know when Ursi's gonna talk or not, and I just go to say something and it's like right when he's timing his whatever he's gonna say.
Yeah,
it's like an issue. It's an issue for me.
I mean, that's like in playing Dota, I never know if he's going to... Well, I always actually do know if he's going to talk or not when we're playing Dota, because he's never going to ever say fucking anything. But yeah, when we're podcasting, I do trip over him pretty often, but that's just because he's like, I guess we're about this. I was going to say because he's small, but we're like the same height basically.
But you're more. We've gone through this. You're more agile, so that makes you taller.
But I was gonna say it's because like I'm you're walking around and then you just like trip over him. Because oh, I didn't see you there. But that's not like that doesn't work for me. If I was very tall, I could say that. But I'm so tired of height based fucking. Anyway. I feel bad because I'm like, okay, I feel like Ursi has stopped talking and I'm going to start talking now, and it's like, nope, that's never the case. Nope, you just cut him off. Well, it's like, the thing with Dota is that it's a complicated game, so you have to finish your point or something.
Do you have any advice? Right? Do you have any advice for me on this topic?
Tell him to shut the fuck up. That's what I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could do more of that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't curse though; it'll make you look like an asshole. I'm allowed to do it because like I have this weird thing with him. Where
You've been grandfathered in. That's what's happened.
Yeah, I've been grandfathered into being able to abuse Ursi a slight amount. He also doesn't really pay a lot of attention to me, so it's like I tell him shut the fuck up, and all he hears is like, "Rah!" And then he's like, maybe I should stop, since like the fucking tiny rodent is trying to say something to me. I'm like, I'm a bear, damn it.
Oh, okay. So I have a couple of things to get out of the way, and then we will get into utility items number 2. Okay. We're leaving off on Aetherlands. First and foremost, the Kickstarter has been canceled, and that is not for a bad reason. It is for a very good reason. An anonymous donor has come along and has paid. Sorry, what?
Oh, you just heard some music for a second?
It was Fire Emblem.
That was Fire Emblem.
I was about to talk about this gracious anonymous donor.
Do your business. Yeah, no, that's cool. Go on about that. I'll be
an anonymous donor came in and decided to pay for .p's entire trip, and we wrestled to say to give them proper credit, and they don't want it. They literally are doing this just out of the kindness of their heart. We are all making it to TI, and it is paid for. We have tickets. We have everything that we need, and we are not doing a Kickstarter because that's disingenuous. We've already made it there. This happened in the midst of our struggles, we'll say. And I want to just say that, holy shit, this community is awesome, and we're all going to TI. How do you feel about that, Proud?
I just wish that Leon had way more speed, because he fucking sucks.
Are you excited?
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I'm super pumped about going to TI. I'm like just now processing the words that you said. They were in like a queue because I was thinking about yeah. But no, that's cool. I mean, I'm already privy to this information, so you're not getting the instant hype from me. But I mean, yeah, it sounds dope. I'm looking forward to TI. I liked that place last time, and the time before, and the time before that.
Yeah, you've been.
I've been like to every TI. No, I haven't.
I've been to 3. TI 5 and TI 6. Anyway, it's
4.
It's truly amazing.
I've been to. Great.
This will be my 3rd.
Yeah, we'll be my 4th. So
this will be. Oh, okay. Well, you've been to one more than me, but I'm trying to talk about this anonymous donor.
Well,
anyway,
I don't know. I've been to one more TI than you.
We canceled the Kickstarter. TI is covered. We are all extremely happy. Everybody's accommodations have been met. And I cannot say enough to this community and how awesome you guys are. You wanted to see us there, and one individual made sure that was going to happen. We still are going to be doing a fundraiser on June 10th for basic costs for equipment while we're down there, because it didn't cover equipment costs. But this is covering our stay, travel, everything like that. Somebody was kind enough to do that for us, and it's insane. And just thank you to the community. And yeah, so June 10th, look out for that. Also, go to the store, like we said at the start. Are you ready to begin utility items number 2?
Oh, I'm always ready to begin utility items number 2. You know me.
Would you say
no, I definitely
that Necronomicon is a utility item?
I'd say it's a bad item. I might say it's also relatively... I mean, utility is a pretty broad term, right? Like, it just kind of means it's not, like, any one thing in particular. But I'd say so, sure. Like, if you have... normally when I think of utility items, just to kind of, recapture a little bit, it's just, like, items for a hero that's... like, there's no really particular thing that's causing you to want any one particular item in particular, not to use the word particular twice, but like, oh, TA, you have several instances of attack, and also you have minus armor built in. Maybe like Desolator might make sense for you. Like, that's pretty obvious, right? Or, fucking Sven, I think you want BKB, but if it's like a hero like Tidehunter, yeah, you want Blink. But besides that, like, what the fuck, like, what you can do?
Yeah, I feel like that sums it up pretty perfectly on what utility items are, where, like, it feels like cores have less issue when figuring out what utility items they need because their slots are kind of predetermined.
Yeah, they're cores for a reason, because
they're cores for
a reason. Certain synergies, they have certain properties that, anyway.
Yeah, like TA is a good example. I know that a lot of people talked about Dragonlance on TA for a while being possibly an issue because that was a slot that she couldn't afford.
Right.
But I think it got worked out, and now she is building Hurricane Pike.
Sometimes depends on the game, but yeah.
Yeah. So, for instance, like, that's why they're cores. Like, Slark. I'm gonna build Slark pretty much the same exact way for my first 4 items.
Yeah,
like
or at least
pretty
you're
much
gonna have the
every
same
game.
central idea. Like you want the Shadow Blade because it has synergy with whatever. You want a either a Scotty or a Basher or something. You want an early Echo Saber because you're always going to need extra mana regen and the extra hits nice. Yeah, like there are reasons that cores build items, but there are certain heroes and even some cores to an extent that have more of a blank slate in terms of what directions you can take their itemization in.
I completely agree.
And that's where utility items kind of come in. I'd say Necro. Sorry, go on.
Tidehunter can get mech, and
right.
I don't believe we've gone over mech yet.
No, we haven't. So we're not going to talk about Necro. We're going to just talk about mech. We're going to do mech right now. Yeah, we're not going to.
Shouldn't we hit the first like Arcane? Don't you feel like Arcane's and mech?
Yeah. Okay. Like... We'll do mana. Okay. We'll do to talk about the items that we want our Tidehunter to buy. We will do mana boots and then mech. We already talked about Blink, and then we'll get Grieve after. In case anyone was wondering the way that our essay was going to go, we're just going to kind of tell you the layout right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Arcane
mana
boots.
Yeah,
they seem simple. You get them and they give mana, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're called mana boots, not arcane boots.
They're called arcane boots.
I'm pretty sure it's mana boots.
Arcane energy comes from them. Magi equipped with these boots are valued in battle.
That's true. And to speak a little more on that, I will say that you always need at least one pair of mana boots on your team. I guess I'm sure you can come up with some examples, and also maybe if you have like a Crystal Maiden or a Coddle, it's not quite as necessary. But as a general rule, like anytime you go into a game, you should come in with the idea that someone needs to buy mana boots. If you discover a reason why that is not the case after that initial assumption, that's fine. But like anytime you're in a game and you're a person who has the capability of building mana boots and it not being completely insane, be it a Jakiro, Cough's fucking Siphus, or a Lion is where I most often see it. It's like very often your 5 is going to be the hero that's most expected to buy mana boots. And then if not that, maybe your 4, and then certain offlaners, certain 3s, and 1 or 2 mid laners like Lena and Storm for a very small amount of time, and like Zeus, but they're going to get rid of their mana boots pretty quickly.
For the Bloodstone, obviously.
Yes. And then also, of course, the ever coveted energy booster that's inside of your mana boots, that's often going to be turned into an Aether Lens or something like that, right? So it's important that when you no longer have mana boots, you have at least some kind of backup plan for like, oh, hey, I have like a Juggernaut as one of my carries, and he's our only like person with a healing ability, and we're really relying on this healing ward. However, I'm the only one with mana boots right now, so if he's spamming a ton of healing ward and I don't have mana boots, maybe that's not going to happen anymore. That sounds like a real fucking problem. Maybe you look at the game and say, okay, yeah, I want this Aether Lens, but do I need to keep my mana boots to help out my good friends? Or is it okay if I disassemble this thing and just have brown boots forever? So like keep that shit in mind.
Or I think of Invoker, where it's like Invoker hits you with an EMP, and you need Jugger's healing ward, mana boots.
Yeah. There was a time when QW Invoker was the most like, it was in every goddamn game. Literally every game was just Tornado EMP every team fight, and was fucking miserable. But people they learned, humans, we adapt. And they said, all right, we need 2 mana boots on this team. If we can have 3, that's ideal. And then you just have like everyone that has a fucking wand with 17 charges waiting in reserve. And you have like, you drafted Bane and Lion, and they both have mana boots, and you're off laner. They're just like, well, we don't want an off laner.
It's a timber saw, and he just never disassembled.
And he has a Bloodstone, but he still has his mana boots because he's like, I know what my job is. And then, like y'all get mana, you all get fucking EMP'd, and then you have like 3 people all come together, and they raise their mana boots in the air, and with a Sven in the center, and they're like, I'm a dad, and then like the witch doctor or the one guy goes Kundalini, that's what Shadow Fiend, or not Shadow Fiend, Shadow Shaman, he goes, I'm a dad, like that's when he shackles you. and they all mana boot their Sven. Actually, it's ideal if you have 5, so you make a pentagram with it. But if you have 3, that's okay. You can do like an upside down triangle or something like that.
Dude, there's no bad energy coming out of arcane boots. Don't you pentagram that.
Or,
don't you take your
pentagrams are not bad energy, Roland. It's just misunderstood. Anyway, it's just misunderstood. And so we all arcane boot our Sven, and then he has just enough mana with his stick that he also had to ulti and then stun the invoker and then kill them all, because this is still pre-nerf and he has a 1.7 base attack time, so it's still possible for him to do things.
Okay. Yeah, no, makes sense. Yeah, and holding mana boots. Is there something to be said? Like, I know that you're talking about putting together a team and going through the qualifiers, and God damn it, I believe in you guys.
I mean, we're not planning on going through. I just want to play. I just want for fun.
You just want to play, yeah. And maybe if you go out in the first game or whatever, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I just like going against.
Is there something to be said about? I always get shit from you about like use your mana boots,
Yeah.
But on a better team, somebody who already knows to use their mana boots, would like a really good support be like, okay, I know this is about to happen, so I'm going to hold them. Like, is the only example this EMP, or is it like, I know Jug has a diffusal?
Nyx, I mean, there's plenty of like things that burn mana in this game right now. Like Nyx's meta, Invoker's meta, AM is seeing a bit of resurgence, and in pubs, AM is always going to be meta. Diffusal is picked up by Lycan a lot right now. It's still picked up by Juggernaut every so often. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mana burn in the game. Necro, which we haven't covered yet, has some mana burn on it. And there are some heroes on your team that are like, like a Medusa, for example. Maybe I'd want to hold my mana boots specifically to keep my Medusa up or some shit like that.
Did you watch the True Sight? I mean, I know it's been talked about.
No, I haven't watched it yet. It came out when I was studying for my exam, so I didn't watch it.
I won't ruin it for you, but there's a point where he says, there's a in chat dialogue where he says, this hero's fucked. I've snaked him a bunch of times. He has no mana. I've snaked him a bunch of times. So they're very well aware of that, pros, obviously. But
So for or rather with or against Medusa, sure. All that mana burn shit. I forgot that she is one of those mana burn heroes. Anyway, against that it would make sense, but if you are walking next to someone who does not have full mana and they are not going to immediately have, or they're not going to have, like, if you're next to a Storm Spirit with 40 Bloodstone charges and he has half mana, sure, hold your Arcanes because he's going to have full mana in a second. But if you're walking next to a Sven with 40% mana, that mana is never coming back, ever. Like, the heroes who...
Just like Echo Saber is never coming back on Sven.
Actually, it might with that base attack time nerf. Echo Saber is slightly more viable.
Is this 7.06B that you're talking about?
Yeah, that did you see?
I read it. I did a cursory overlook. I didn't really comprehend it.
Well, let's kind of keep fragmenting this if we can, and we're just gonna kind of go over that a little bit because hey, someone's got to do it, right? Might as well be us. I mean, they did something to my boy Sven, right? Like I need to. Okay, so let's see what happened. The God Strength bonus strength. God's strength bonus strength. There's a fucking phrase. Reduced from it went from 16 to 40, and now it goes from 12 to 36. So down by 4 across all levels. Whatever, not that big a deal. It's a big deal, but it's not that big a deal. But the main shit, dog, like the real thing we're crying about is base attack time nerf. Oh, from 1.7 to 1.8. That's like what I think someone said it was a 5.6 overall. So like across the board, Sven is always going to be attacking 5.6% slower at all levels of everything. Like no matter what happens, he's going to be attacking a little over 5% less than he was last patch in every possible situation.
Refer to the base attack time episode.
Or really don't listen to that one, apparently. That really could have been done in like 2 sentences if I wasn't trying to be a stupid piece of shit.
No, anyway, I think you're doing...
Hey, shut up. I'm trying to review a patch right now. This is a one-man show,
okay, go for
Roland.
It. Go for it.
It's all of me and half of you. So finish
right.
half a sentence and I cut you off. That's how we're doing it now. Troll Warlord, agility gain was cut. I don't know, Troll was like super meta, and he was really good in the fucking tournament. I'm not convinced about this hero still. Like, yeah, I know Ana beat down everyone's fucking life with him in that one game.
It was situational, I felt, though. And and it goes over that when you watch True Sight, it goes over that where it's like, trolls bashing me, trolls bashing me, trolls bashing me, trolls bashing me. Like, they didn't respond maybe correctly to the troll. because they were so ahead in that game.
You know what's
5.
actually sick good against Troll? Just Force Staff. Because Force Staff gets you away from him long enough for the like. There's no way to stop his bashes. Yeah, you can fucking you can like Lotus Orb it, and then it dispels it, and then you can hope he doesn't bash you again before the middle of your like. Because like I was just watching a game. It was against a Queen of Pain, and Troll was just like, "Well, I'm gonna get you." And even if she broke out, she had to do her shitty ass blink animation, which has like it's a third of a second. She's like, "Here I go." Yeah, she like revs her engines. You know, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog spinning like, and then just wah. But fucking Troll's just like, I have 2 axes, and they both hit very fast, and you just get chain bashed. But if you just Force Staff someone away, Troll's like, we gotta walk.
I gotta run to him again. And if he hits anybody else, then all of his stacks of fervor go away. Yeah,
and it's like yes, it stuns for 2 seconds, but he has a 10% proc chance on it. So if you Force Staff someone in like the middle of a stun, you could actually very easily math out how long it would take. It would basically literally be impossible. How long does Force Staff move you? I want to actually, because like no one actually understands.
It moves you 900 units. So
900 units. Yes, your move speed directly maps to that. So Troll probably has like 400 move speed. I think 440 or something if he uses phase boot, some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. So 2 seconds to get to.
Yeah, that's 2 seconds of walk time plus, depending on the way you're turned. That may be another, like he also has to turn around, which is, it's like half a second or some shit like that. Yeah. So it may be literally impossible for Troll to actually like eat.
But here's the issue. Yeah. You can't Force Staff a BKB'd Troll.
But I'm saying Force Staff the person who's getting.
Oh yeah. I was like, you forced the Troll away.
Hey, Bash does go through BKB, so if your Sven BKBs pops in, immediately gets stunned at 10% chance, then you may be fucked. Unless you're Raven, who builds a fucking halberd on Sven for some goddamn reason, then he'll dodge every attack. Yeah, he's doing well with it. I don't know what to think about it. Maybe evasion is just that good because he has such low armor now that he goes mask instead of the old Dom that had 5 armor on it. But anyway, Sven got nerfed and he's definitely out of the game forever, no questions asked. So please don't nerf him again, and he's obviously never going to get played. So we don't have to talk about that.
Just when they're bringing Dom back too.
They're not though. They're really not. Dom is gone forever.
Dude,
It's still gone. It's not back.
All right, so I have my boots. We know that Lions should get it. We know that Jakiro should get it. Cough, cough, Denny. Now I'm Tidehunter. I have my blink. I have my arcanes.
Well, not necessarily. So I mean, I went over being upset about mana boots, but never actually. So mana boots are like if you don't have we went over when to go what boots, right? Like there was an episode about boots. And we had a little flowchart on it. But just if you need a bigger mana pool, or you're a hero that doesn't have any specific boot they want too badly, or you're one of or like on your team, you are the one who is most suited to mana boots, and if you don't get them, no one else is going to. That's you get mana boots. Like it's a utility item in that it helps your entire team, and if you don't have something else that's like you wildly need to get, then just go fucking mana boots. Like mana boots aren't that great on Venge. A lot of people aren't a big fan. Like, oh, I want tread so I can attack later, or oh, I just want tranquils because I don't really build a health regen item, and I'm gonna get medallion for a mana regen, so I just kind of want tranquils or whatever. Like, fuck you, you got to get mana boots, dude. Your other support is a fucking like spirit breaker, and then you've got a goddamn like juggernaut on your team, and your mid is some fucking, I don't know who needs a lot of mana mid. Name me someone. I don't know.
Odie early? No, Odie doesn't need a lot of mana mid. Storm needs a lot of mana mid.
Yes, early Storm, sure. Early game. Storm will have a mana boot early game, so it's not the best example. Let's say Death Prophet. Death Prophet goes through a shit ton of mana.
Anybody that I think Queen of Pain is
Invoker,
well, right?
Yeah, especially because she's going Veil so early now, so like she has a ton of health regen, but no.
And Invoker's a great example.
Yeah, Invoker needs
Invoker's the best example, probably.
Yeah, Invoker needs a ton because he doesn't even build a single item that's like a Sage's Mask in it forever.
I know.
If you have cores on your team, I can almost guarantee you they need mana because cores want to do damage. They don't want to be like, wow, I'm Invoker and I really do need my Midas and Ags, but I guess I'll just stop to buy a Voidstone for no reason. Like, that's never crossed an Invoker's mind. The Invoker's like, I have problems that are not covered by Midas and Ags. Therefore, my entire team will take care of all of them, and I don't need to sweat it. And that's your job. You're going to do that for him because he's above you, and you are subservient. Because that's how Dota 2 works.
Okay, so we're Tidehunter. We got the blink. We got the mana boots, and we're going Greaves, and we have to take the logical step into Greaves, which is mech.
We got mech before blink. Let's be competent Tidehunters here.
Oh, really? Is that really what you do?
Yep, yeah. Well, I mean, so early game, like you don't really need the blink that much. Like if you're a Tidehunter with, and even if you do have it, like if your team just dies before you're in position for a good Ravage, like I don't know, like think about okay, one of the
like
best
pacing
things,
of the game, I guess that makes
it's
sense.
just okay. This is another kind of visualization thing with Tidehunter. Like so there are two possible ways that a fight can go in Dota 2. Especially on the phase of like the first kind of item you're getting. There's you pushing their tier 1 tower, them pushing your tier 1 tower, and then I guess there's also like these weird skirmishes that happen for no reason. Tidehunter is a hero that's either just holding down the safe the off lane doing his shit, or he's rotating to a lane to like engage in some tomfoolery. And if they're pushing into your tier 1 tower, you know what Tidehunter's gonna do? He's gonna spend 50 gold and TP into a good spot and then ravage off of that because they're attacking your tier 1. They're diving your like you don't need blink if you can teleport anywhere, right? Yeah, and ravage is a huge range too. Like you just fucking do it.
You're right.
So
and mech is gonna help a lot more in defending a tier 1 than a blink ravage.
Yes, or in pushing a tier 1. You know, like you're trying to push a tier 1 and then they have like a coddle and coddle shoots his coddle blast and then you mech and then you kill a tower anyway.
I'm the judge and I'm gonna say like dismissed, guilty for anybody that's built blink first. You go mech. Like,
and also it's a piecewise item, right? So if you're offlaning and you're dying, you can still be buying every part of your mech. Whereas blink
Headdress
is like,
is good. Headdress is really good.
Buckler is way better too. Gives armor and an aura that stacks with Bassi.
100% uptime.
Yeah. People do undervalue. Oh my god, Buckler. They undervalue Buckler.
Buckler may be most undervalued, and I never click it. I'll be honest. Even though I know it has 100% uptime, I still find myself where it's like, oh, I should hit my buckler.
Well, I mean, on certain heroes, like if you don't have infinite mana, it is still 25 mana every so often. So if you're playing like, I don't know, no one really builds mech anymore, if I'm being honest. But if you're playing, let's say you're playing Tidehunter, and I need to think. Okay, so let's say you're playing Enigma. Enigma kind of goes mech sometimes. Now it's just straight up like blink BKB because of fucking S4. But sorry, I just did like a half burp. But yeah, like if you're playing Enigma and you're just like mass summoning Eidolons and you just cleared out a bunch of trees and you have half mana, like maybe you don't have to pop Buckler. Maybe you can just regen that 25 mana and we won't hurt you too much. I want to say last time anyone built a Buckler just to build a Buckler was the 4 Doom that was played by like Crit and Puppy a shit ton around. I want to say it was like was it the Shanghai Major in between the Frankfurt and Shanghai Major, and I think at the Shanghai Major too.
You're talking like TI or like right after TI
post
5 then, huh?
Post TI 5, with like when OG was a new team and stuff. Was there was like a 4 jungling Doom that would just like someone else was gonna get Bassi on your team. Doom just bought you just bought Buckler because he just needed armor. And that was just like I want armor. Cool. I'm a utility hero. I'm gonna get I don't need Bassi.
He has mana issues though is the thing. Like if I think of mana, and it's only 10 mana by the way. Buckler, but
is it only 10?
Yeah.
Oh
now
cool.
It's only 10. I don't know if it's
he does have mana issues, but I think a lot. Like I personally I went. That was also when Raindrop was like new, so you buy Raindrop all the time for some mana regen. But like he needs armor more than he does mana, right? Like you're gonna get some kind of item to take care of your mana. But Buckler is a 7 armor item, right? Like that's absurd.
It's ridiculous. It's really good.
Yeah. 25
although I still
duration,
find myself going Headdress first. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because I want like regen. And you don't really like.
Well, I mean, hey, that's not a terrible idea. Like, yes, armor is good, but also if you think early game, so it has 5 armor for yourself, and it's more expensive too, but only 2 armor for your team, right? So if you need to give like health regen, and it's a 3 health regen on Headdress now, it's more expensive than it used to be. Headdress keeps getting more expensive. Jesus Christ.
300. I think it's 350 for the recipe for Headdress now.
No, it's still 300. I think. Yeah, it's still 300, but the ring of regen is 325. I guess the ring of regen used to only be it used to be 350, but then it dropped down to 325, and it was like, sweet, this is cheap now. And then the Headdress recipe jumped up 100 because of
So it just kind of became 75 more, I believe, is how much.
No, it was 100 more. So Buckler recipe used to be 200 and Headdress recipe used to be 200. Like these items used to be super like the same because they're both like branch plus either ring of regen or chainmail, and then a 200 gold recipe, and then they both built into mech, so they're like twins. But they've kind of come apart as far as what they do.
They've changed them a little bit. Okay, so let's get back on track to the Tidehunter, the good Tidehunter that now
built
has
mech. Yes.
That has mana boot mech. He gets his blink. Game's going well. At what point?
Well, hey, we haven't talked about why you get mech. We can't go straight to Greaves, dog.
Okay, you're right.
Jesus.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're getting crazy.
I'm getting crazy.
I'm making jokes. So mechanism is... So I was just saying, like, no one builds mech anymore. And that's basically true. Like, who the fuck? Name one hero that goes mech besides Tidehunter. Tidehunter. Name one.
I build it every single time I play Viper. I love it.
Sure, yeah, that's okay. So Viper mech is like some fucking hot tech. So that came out, I want to say 4.5 years ago, at least 4 years ago is when it became cool. Items have storied histories, dude, and the way to understand why anything is good is you need to understand why it was good before and what made it good, and then why it fell off and what made it fall off. Like Sven going SNY on Sven. The reason I started doing that last patch or 2 patches ago was because fucking SNY was the thing to do. And then Echo Saber came out, and also the playstyle of Sven completely changed, where it was just like, oh, farm one big stack, your mobility doesn't matter, just one big ancient stack, and then you just burst everyone in 2 seconds. Then, shit, 7-0 came out, there's no more one big ancient stack, so let's go back to what we were doing before the whole game was based around one big ancient stack. Oh, we were doing SNY. So like, yeah, trying to reverse engineer the process of heroes is how you do shit. Yeah. So think about mech. Like, why do you think mech is good on Viper? Yeah, go for it, dog.
I'm so glad you asked me. So
go for it, dog. Here you go.
Here's how I feel on Viper.
I'm ready.
I feel like a goddamn tank with really, really shitty armor.
So strong.
Before mech. Like I'm just super strong. Like I put out a lot of damage, but like I can't really take a ton. Is how it feels.
Well,
like
I think
in my
take
chasing,
some, right? Let's look at Viper.
I can take more than other heroes.
Well,
I can take more than other heroes.
Let's look at Viper, right? Because I think you're brushing over identifying the armor was a big deal. So it's not so much that you're squishy; it's just like your armor shit. You know, like when you're a Viper and someone gets on, and like they get on top of you. You know, they get out of your zone of control and they just, they're in your shit.
It's gonna be a trade to death, but I don't want to die. I want to come out alive.
True.
So basically, how I feel is I'm in my 3K game. I'm playing Viper. I'm dominating this Shadow Fiend.
Big boy, strong boy.
But his right clicks are hurting. Like his right clicks definitely hurt way more than they should.
Then why aren't his raises hurting? I just want to cover Viper real quick. Why aren't his other things hurting? Do you know?
His raises aren't hurting because I have magic resistance because of Nether Tox or corrosive skin.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So Viper has built-in magic resist, but not physical. Cool.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to cover that because no one knows
his
about
raises.
Viper.
And every time he raises me, he's taking some shit too, which is good. And like he's taking damage and he's slowed. And I feel like I can control the space between me and Shadow Fiend really well. Yeah. But if he just decides to go Rambo on me, I have to just fight to my death, knowing that he's gonna die and I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
But then Mech comes out, and all of a sudden his right clicks hurt a lot less because, well, now quantifying it, I'm getting 5 attributes to everything. So meaning I'm getting 100 more health.
Yep.
I'm getting almost an armor.
Yep.
And I'm getting some more mana, a little more intelligence.
Do you need that mana?
Yeah, to afford mech. Mech's
there
expensive.
you go. Yeah, mech is expensive. So how much? Yeah, it's 225 to cast.
Yeah, 225.
How much?
So basically,
how much mana does 5 int give you? I always forget.
5 int will give me 5 times 12. So
I think is it 11
it might be 14
because I'm pretty sure they just changed it.
It's either 11, 12, or 14. Regardless, it's going to be somewhere around 50 to 70 mana. Is how much I'm going to get out of it.
It is 11 now. Yeah, they just changed it down to 11, not down to 12. So it's 50, only 55. So it's more mana, but it's only 55. And then mech costs how much, you say?
Mech costs 225. So it's still super expensive. So if I Viper Strike, so basically all I have is like 2 Qs, a Viper Strike, and a mech if I'm gonna fight Shadow Fiend. But if I'm a good Viper, I've built treads and I'm switching to int, which is increasing my pool.
Yeah, so
my mana pool. With. So basically, I can just sit there, shoot at him, switch to int, hit my mech, and even though he dies, I make it out with a sliver. Because I meched myself, and now I'm winning the lane because of mechanism, and purely because of mechanism, because the armor helped keep me alive from his right clicks, my nether toxin, or my corrosive skin, protect me from his close range raise, and I was able to man fight him with all the creeps hitting me too, which my armor was helping with as well.
Sick.
Well, maybe the creeps weren't hitting me, maybe they were, because I was using Q, it just depends on my mana, because you can orb walk with Viper. Anyway, that's nice to have that quantification, and the health regen is nice, but basically you just feel it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have mech, and you just feel it.
And let's
looking at it, it's obvious why.
let's okay, so I want to take this in a couple directions. So Viper is normally considered a pretty uncommon mech carrier. The old, like, when I first started playing, I started playing like kind of right after TI2, maybe a couple months after, I guess about 3 months after TI2. And someone I knew that was playing was like, oh yeah, you have two supports because one support goes mech and the other one goes pipe. What fucking idiots we were. Because those were some of the, I mean, there was no Glimmer Cape, there was no Solar Crest or whatever. So it was just like, oh yeah, the support items, the one that heals and the one that makes you take less magic damage. That's supports, you know, the healers. The
logic isn't bad.
I mean, it's just stupid.
But
it's just fucking wrong.
On paper, the logic isn't bad. Where it's like,
right.
we're protected from physical Dota, and magical.
Maybe it was correct. Yeah. And the mech is obviously the better one. It's like the greedier, so the tanky support gets the pipe, and the one gets the I don't know. Anyway, that was the thought. But yeah, so like, so the old idea was just like, oh, mech, it doesn't have aggressive stats on it, or whatever. Like, you know, you have a support get it. But Viper was like the new kind of interesting thing, and that led to a lot of cores getting mech. Like, in China, I think mech Shadow Fiend was hella good at
TI3.
At TI3. Yeah, that was like a while ago, and it comes back every so often. But since they made Raze 90 mana instead of 75,
and Razor
as you said,
was a thing too.
Oh yeah, Razor mech also. Yeah, any of these like tanky mids that had extra mana to spare, because Razor and Viper are typically like thought of very similar. They're lane dominators. They don't really need a lot. They just kind of like they start snowballing. They just shit on everyone. So what is like? Okay, so Razor and Viper, those are both perfect examples of like the cores who would kind of get mechs. So they both need survivability items, but as you said, mech is hella expensive, right? So it's not like you can just get a mech on any hero. It's got to be a hero with a bunch of mana to spare, hence Shadow Fiend not getting it post the 15 mana nerf per raise, which if you do a 3 raise combo, that's like fucking, 45 extra mana to spend? And they're already, that's a shit ton.
And it was already expensive before, in my opinion, when I'd be like, ooh, am I going to do a triple? Ooh, is it going to work?
And then they nerf Bottle, so Bottle is like only... Because Bottle used to be like...
I think it gives you like 5 mana, right?
I think it's 6. I think I'm...
Is it 6 mana per...
Yeah.
Per
no, they didn't buff Bottle. They made Bottle cost 10 gold less, so it's still 5. You're right. Because it went from...
So the other thing I noticed with Viper, so the other side effect of mech is... When I was winning a lot with Viper, I was saying, we move on mech. Right. So I was telling my team, we move on mech, meaning everybody gets the Aura health regen of 4. They get the Aura armor of, what is that, 2?
The passive and the active. Yeah, I think the passive is... No, I think it's... Shit, I had it fucking up here a second ago.
It's not saying right here.
Well, it should. Let's see. Learn items. Here we go. It should. All right, let's see. Aura health regen 4, restore armor 2. Yeah, okay. So it's just the active gives you 2 armor. Yeah, that's all.
So I mean, it's good. So it's a good pushing item, and not only that, when like what you were saying, similar to Tide, what are the battles looking like? Like I can get a 10-minute mech on Viper, pretty easily. Yeah. Like because I'm a lane dominator,
how big a heal is that? Because if you're grouping up after you do that, if a 250 heal on 5 heroes, that's a fucking 1,250 health swing. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with early game.
Yeah, it's a ton. It's a ton to deal with early game. So that's why my Viper strats were really working out really well, and I have still an absurdly high win rate because the people that listened, even if I only got like the stubborn safe lane carry would stay down there, and actually that kind of worked out because he was still farming, and we were taking the attention off of him, creating him space.
Sure.
But as a 4, we're pushing into tier 1 mid, and all of a sudden it looks like we're all going to die. I hit mech. I don't have mana necessarily, but Viper still is a good right clicker even tanky. At 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and I'm tanky, and I have this 5 armor that this is giving me. And if they attack me, they're taking damage.
The idea that, so I liked that you said, like, and we're all dying, but then I hit mech. So, like, there's this huge thing with healers being super good in Dota, or at least having, like, I'm sure you've seen 1,000 times, someone looks like they're going to get a kill, and then 17 stick charges come out, and then the whole fight turns. Whereas
or even
if they...
4, or even 5.
And you're just like, any amount of healing in Dota, really. That's especially healing that you're not expecting, like, I'm fighting
I think it's burst heal.
That's certainly part of it. But there have been a number of times where like you have an alchemist that's almost dead, and then the burst damage runs away, and then you just keep chasing this alchemist and hitting him. You're just like, his health isn't going down, but it's not going up, so I think I can still kill him. He's got 2% health, and then you keep trying, and he's just like, I'm getting radiance burned here. Actually, this sucks. And you try to turn around, he concoctions, you're under tower, you're dead. Yeah. But yeah, like healing in general is like there's so much psychological edge to it where they almost kill all of you, but they used all their burst, right? Because the way Dota works is you use your burst. So they use their opening volley of combos. Yeah. You almost die, and then they're like, okay, we'll get him with like the second half volley that we have in a second, and then you mech, and then your volley of spells come out. Then they do their half volley because their longer cooldowns haven't come up yet. But you don't die because you meched. So they're like, the calculation that they did early game is now wrong, or early in the fight is now wrong, and now you're just you fucking kill, and it's great.
And if we kill 2 or 3, say there's already 2 in mid. And it's against us 4, and then they get like two TPs in, and we kill 2 of them. They are either going to all die, or 2 are going to run away, and we're going to take the tier 1 mid. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like in a perfect situation, like Dota in a vacuum, everybody rotates mid. When I get that mech, we take all the tier 1s, and then we go back to a state of farming where
until the next big item. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the perfect way to use mech. So like, let's deconstruct exactly what the situation there was. One, you said, oh, I got a 10-minute mech. Yes, you got an early mech, right? So is my fucking 5, who we just said needs to go mana boots, gonna get a 10-minute mech? Fucking no, that's not gonna happen. I'll be lucky if I get a fucking 13-minute mana boot.
Yeah, if you have mana boots at 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, hit those, you know? Because I just spent 225 mana on mech.
And let's say I don't go the mana boots. Let's say I go mech. Is my Shadow Shaman, or is my Lion, who has, what is Lion? What is fucking mana cost? I keep going between these tabs here. Lion, it's like fucking 1 trillion mana for every goddamn spell he has.
Yeah.
Where's like, Lion? He starts with L, right?
125 for Earthspike. Yeah,
well, Earthspike's max now because somehow you managed to get mana boots, so you obviously are level 7. So you have 160 mana fucking Hex, your Earthspike, your Hex is 125, and your ulti is 200. I don't got goddamn mana for a fucking mech. I need mana boots for that shit. So pretty much every hero, like, you just don't have mana for mech. 225, yes, it gives you 55 mana, which is less than it used to. And you used to not have mana, and now you sure as shit don't have mana. You got a slight base mana increase, but I don't give a shit. You're an int hero. The int matters.
It's kind of okay to, after Viper does his Viper Strike, to just blow his mana. You know what I mean?
I mean, what else
And then, well, you have your Q, obviously, which takes 20 mana each shot. But
sure.
You're going to regen that, like, enough to get, like, a couple in a fight. You know what I mean?
Well, so just looking at your mana, even if you don't shred swap, let me get a mech on me right here. So I have enough mana so I mech and I go down to, like, 325. And then if I ulti, then I'm down to, like, 200. And that is...
then you have 10 shots.
I have 10 poison attacks. That's enough. Yeah. It lasts for 2 seconds, right? I have poison attack every other hit.
If you can get
20
10
auto
poison
attacks,
attacks,
you're set.
Oh, if you can get
and
10
you have
in a
wand
fight,
too, and 2.4 mana regen, you're set.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do tread the swap, you're gonna have
then
more
you're
like
fucking fine.
Yeah, then you're so fine. So okay, let's. I feel like we covered kind of the support side. We covered the kind of the I would call Viper a semi-core, right? Like. What do you call Viper? You call him a core?
No, yeah, he's totally a core. He's just like a core that doesn't scale super well. It's just like a pushing oriented core. It's kind of like running a Venge safe lane. Well, not even Venge is good. Viper's not. Anyway, he's just like a pushing core that has a very early. He has a very short shelf life.
Yeah. And that's why the people that listened to me when I was like move on mech, we won, and the people that were like, nah, dude, that's okay. It was kind of a waste getting mech. Like, I was tankier and I killed Shadow Fiend, sure, but it didn't really do much. Okay, Greaves. This doesn't really apply to Viper, in my opinion, unless we go super late.
Right, so here's the other thing, is that one thing that factors into whether or not a hero is a good mech hero was the introduction of Greaves, which is kind of why you don't see the mech on, Shadow Fiend or
Razor
or Razor. Like, those don't go as much because part of the, pretty much everything in Dota is balanced around everything. Like, almost every aspect of an item is taken into account into how it's balanced. So the fact that mech can go into Greaves is a big part of its itemization. So as we said before, if you can't take advantage of one aspect of an item, there's a pretty strong chance that you may just want to avoid that item in general. And if your hero is not going to naturally, like, Greaves is mana boots in mech. So if you're not a hero that goes both mana boots and mech, you're probably not going to get full advantage of the Greaves. Mana boots you may just need because your team needs them, or you need it early game, which outshines that. But like for mech, like if you're not going to upgrade it, that's kind of okay. If, as we said, like Viper has a very short shelf life, so he's not super worried about what his 6 slot is going to look like. But if you are playing like Shadow Fiend 6 slot, that's a big fucking deal. And if you're going to spend 2k on a dead end item that doesn't scale at all late game, like that's just not good. So that's something to think about, right?
So I feel like Guardian Greaves has like 2 big standouts, and I feel like that's like Bounty Hunter and Necro. Right?
Yeah, sure. Also,
like, wouldn't you say those are the Guardian Greaves of this day and age?
Yeah, Necro to a degree. I think Necro's a little more like, because Necro's just such a weird hero, right? Like, I don't really think of him as a paragon for any specific item because I don't really recommend him in many attributes or many respects. But like, Underlord he's kind of out of play now. But even if he's like, if you are going to play Underlord, you're probably going to go Greaves, right? He's a hero that needs mana. Yeah. He doesn't necessarily need any of the other boots. He's a great mech guy because he is very teamfight oriented. All his abilities are AoE. He doesn't have any health regen of his own, but he's big and tanky. And as we said, like, mech is a very tank. It's an item that adds armor and health and helps you group up, right? As far as the other items that help you like group up, or rather that make you tanky, like the ones that are like pure tank, because mech is almost pure tank, right? Like it gives you 5 strength and 5 agi, which is like 5 damage for a core maybe and 5 attack speed. But outside of that, like the items that make you tanky that we were talking about before, it's like there's like Vanguard, which fucking sucks, especially if you're ranged. Like the old Viper used to go Vanguard when everyone just fucking sucked. Cool. But then they were like, oh shit, I have extra mana and I'm just gonna go mech instead because I'm not an idiot. But yeah, like what items make you tanky? Like kind of Urn sort of does now that has armor on it. Also, we can append our Urn section to say it doesn't give you strength anymore. But if you're a hero that needs armor, Urn is now really cool for you.
And like, I love the 1% mana regen.
No, it's not 1%. The 1 flat mana regen.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, 1 mana. I like it's. I like it. I
totally agree.
I played Dazzle with it. I played Dazzle with the new Urn.
Well, that's a nerf to Dazzle, honestly.
It is a nerf to Dazzle because the Sages would have done more for Dazzle, but like
it just feels nice.
It's just a nice even round good like 1.
Okay.
Like what's your favorite non-negative integer? You know what I mean? And it's
24.
always 1. It's always 1.
It's 24 for me. I'm sorry. It's very easily divisible by a lot of things, which is why we use it for the day.
My calculus teacher always used to ask that. He's like, "What is your favorite non-negative integer?"
24. Like, it's easy.
Like, well, 1. No, 1's just super easy to deal with because what's the square root of 1?
Yeah.
What what is the?
Yeah. I was gonna say, it sounds like a computer scientist because like bits 1 and 0, but I guess a computer scientist would say 2. Yeah. Because that's anyway.
1's just an easy it's the easiest number to deal with. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then also if you're a fucking hitchhikers, you'd say 42, but that's
you'd say 42,
the most tired joke in the book. I mean, it's a good reference, but still, it's like, come on, we're past that one by now.
So I want to specifically get into Bounty Hunter for Greaves.
Okay.
Why? I would love to hear why from you.
Sure, yeah. So this is
I understand. We've already covered he needs mana and he needs.
Sure, he loves mana. Well, so what? So if you look at what other boot items that he would get. Phase, I guess, if you're just like, I want to be real fast and I want Janata damage. It does break invisibility. That's one thing, and it does buff your Janata damage, but your Janata damage is nothing. Like your Bounty Hunter, you're a 4. You fucking toss Sherry's and then toss track. That's it. You do your Janata for like the slow, and yes, the damage is whatever, but don't spend 800 gold on fucking plus 24 damage for 1 attack. That gets a slight crit. So your other boot options like Treads, it'd be nice to be tanky, but like, what are you gonna do with attack speed? And then Tranquils is cute, but Tranquils is kind of like shit. I'm not gonna buy any item that gives me any health regen, and I don't do anything else, so I'm just gonna get Tranquils. So you say, okay, I need mana. I'm gonna get mana boots. That makes sense. And then like, I mean, Bounty Hunter can go any item, right? Like this is a true utility hero. There was a time where he was just going Dagon for like this wild burst with just like Dagon Eblate Bounty.
I remember, yeah.
Back with I think it was Team Dog, which later I think was Mouse Sports at TI4. Dog played a shit ton of Dagon Bounty Hunter that kind of brought it in. This is like some old shit, relatively. Yeah. TI4 is still new to me. Like old as TI2 to me because that's like before me anyway. So. Like he can go Medallion. Medallion's not too bad. People when Bounty was still an offlaner, people really liked Deso because it would work really well if your Janata is a crit. What's the other the 2 ways to multiply your an individual instance of an attack are minus armor is a multiplicative factor and crit is a multiplicative factor. So if you already have crit, go minus armor. That's kind of how PA Deso, you already have crit, you go minus armor. And that's how you optimize the dagger, which is just 1 attack. So you would go like, okay, Deso kind of, but I mean, it's not that great. And then there's like Vlad's, like Faceless Void goes Vlad's because he's like, I'm Void. I don't really do anything. I'm just going to give an aura, I guess. I don't really do anything without a lot of farm. I'm just going to get the Vlad's. But if you're a hero that can go mana boots, you say, all right, well, I'll get Arcanes. And then like, I don't know, mech, I guess, because like, okay, so the reason you don't get mech costs mana, which is taken over by if you have mana boots, and then so if you go mana boots, the reason you don't get mech is it costs a lot of mana, or rather, it costs a lot of money, and there might be some other items that you're more suited to get. Maybe you need your line, you need a blink, you're here that needs to escape, you need force staff, you're gonna die, you need fucking, ghost scepter or some shit like that. But bounty hunter, like, he's invisible, he can show up anywhere, he gains a shit ton of money through track. And he's not going to farm creeps or whatever. There's no reason to like get something that helps him farm creeps. So you say, okay, I'll get a mech. Like all the stars align. I have a bunch of money. I'm going to build mana boots anyway because I need the mana to be spamming my ulti, keep myself in stealth, and to be throwing out shuris. It just kind of lines up perfectly for mech. And also, again, you're here that doesn't really use anything in particular, so I can build into Greaves just fine. And then, I can get fucking like blinks and medallions and shit later.
Mm-hmm. And I guess he's kind of the silent guy that's always there but never seen, and so
yeah,
he can
pop up out of nowhere. Like, whoa, heal you.
And he's kind of like your mobile like defense, right? Like people think, oh man, it's 5v4, get him, and then once again, it's kind of like the Viper thing that I was saying earlier, where it's like, oh man, everybody's gonna die. Guardian Greaves, now we kill them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he also does encourage like grouping up because Bounty Hunter, he's not Nyx. He doesn't get solo kills, and even Nyx doesn't really get solo kills anymore. Almost no one does, as I think we've said a number of times. Solo kills don't exist. But Bounty Hunter, like Bounty Hunter's gonna be with a team. So an item like Mechanism that heals your team is like, it works out pretty fucking well. It's good.
Yeah, and especially when everybody's tracked and they're like, ha 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 ha, ha. Like this bounty doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And then you throw out. You throw out your shuriken, it bounces between everybody because it's a close quarter combat.
Yeah.
You grieve, you save the fucking day. Somebody's below 20% and they're getting like 15 armor, which is insane, 15 health regen.
Yeah.
And they just barely, narrowly escape because you are there. That is it.
Totes.
Like, Bounty, he just needs to show up. That is it.
Yeah, and also his track has an absurd range, and he wants to put it on everyone. And like the way that fights in Dota work is like positioning is a huge thing. Like normally you just think, oh, there's just like you have 5 dudes, like army tactics where it's like, oh, this column of soldiers were going there, and then like that. Normally you think about that and you think of like fucking hundreds of thousands of troops or whatever. But honestly, in Dota, like 5 people, your formation, your positioning, everything like is way more than you could ever think. And Bounty, positioning wise, because he can throw his positioning doesn't really matter. He doesn't need to be like Magnus or Sven on the corner of a fight looking for the initiation. He's in the middle of his entire team, throwing out tracks on like everyone that he can see, and he's invisible and shit too, right? So he can always be in position to mech. Whereas like Tidehunter's a great Greaves carrier because he's got to be in the middle of a fight. But if you're at that stage where you're like off in the background, like trying to look for a blink in, you can't actually just mech your whole team without fucking up your positioning, and then you blink in Greaves, but now you don't have a good Ravage initiation. Like Bounty is just fucking perfect
or you don't have the
respects.
mana. Well, I guess this doesn't take mana. This doesn't take mana, but
Greaves does.
If somebody
mech
gets,
does.
Yeah, mech does, Greaves don't. But for that example with Tide, like waiting to Ravage, what if somebody gets gone on, but it's just one person and they're below 20%, but you're not in aura to give them that 15 armor?
Yeah, and then Tide has to blink in, and then now Sven can do his blink initiation and just BKB. He's not going to be caught by Ravage anymore. He'll just preemptively BKB, and now you're like, shit, this fucking sucks.
Bounty is like the perfect Greave carrier because he can just skirt around.
Because Necro's also in the center of every fight. Yeah,
Necro wants to be in the center, wants to make sure he's close enough range for Reapers.
Yeah.
Makes sure that he's close enough range to heal everybody, right, with his Q.
And this makes sense for Enigma too. So if you think about what Enigma is doing, as I was saying, Enigma is now super like Blink BKB oriented, right? Especially more as a core Enigma, Blink BKB, or Black Hole. Whereas the support Enigma, which used to just say, oh, just don't go Blink on Enigma. Like, it's not your Black Hole, it's the threat of the Black Hole. And you just like mass push with your Eidolons and your other skills, and you have mech, and it's. Yeah, and it's super good 5-man. But like, if you're playing the Blink BKB Enigma, obviously it makes sense that mech isn't quite as good because you're often, you're fucking off in Timbuktu, jerking off and having fun with your little Eidolon babies, and you're not in position to mech. All you're doing is like, I'm just gonna sit here. There's a black hole, I'm gonna black hole. There's no black hole, I'm just gonna sit here. And then like when you're gonna mech, you're not gonna mech anyone. That makes actually a ton of sense.
You're gonna mech after your black hole gets fucked up.
Yeah,
this is what's gonna happen.
You're just like, fuck Greaves. But that's
yeah, exactly. Like you use Greaves when things go badly, basically.
Yeah. Also, Greaves have a dispel on them. So if you're playing a hero like like there's a lot of items that can work for self-dispel, especially in the utility category. Yule's dispels you when you use it. BKB does, which I mean I think is still an absurdly good item for almost any hero in any situation. It's not just for Sven. Lotus Orb is not a self-dispel, that's an other person dispel. So part of Lotus Orb's budget is that it dispels other people, not just you. So if you're just thinking, okay, I only need to dispel myself, and also I'm getting, like I have mana boots. Like if you're a Omni Knight against a Silencer, no need to go Yules, just rush your Greaves out, and then as soon as Global Silence comes out, bam, Greaves. Now you're dispelled, and now you can now you can heal people and use your skills and shit. I used to think it dispelled everyone in the aura, and I was like, oh yeah. No. Because everyone was like, Greaves, the perfect counter to Global Silence. And I was like, oh, because it dispels everyone. And no. The one time I played Omni, and I was like, oh man, Global Silence, now I Greaves, and my team's still silenced. I'm like, I was lied to. This isn't perfect at all. It's just really good.
That's why you get a Lotus Orb, so you can be like, Greaves, Lotus Orb, another guy.
No. You just need Refresher Octarine because you're Omni. So you Lotus Orb yourself, or not Lotus Orb, you Greaves yourself, and then you fucking repel someone, Refresher, repel someone else, and then Global Silence lasts a while, and your Octarine makes both of them go off cooldown, and then you repel someone, and then Refresher again, repel, and Global's dispelled.
And then Global, issue. Makes sense. Silencer took completely countered.
Yep.
Okay, let's before I know we'll get back to Necro, and I think we're gonna end it on Necro.
That sounds good. Dude, Nec is such a conversation, but that item sucks now. So welcome to a total waste of time.
Let's talk about drums. I feel like this is
drums.
I feel like this is an item that it's like I'm winning, and I'm on a support. I'm gonna buy drums.
Yeah,
like that's kind of how I'm treating drums.
I feel like a large part of drum is just people upset that they're slow, and they're just like, "Fuck it, I don't want to be slow. I want a drum," and then they buy drum.
Well, Windlace goes on top of any boot now, so it's like you're not that slow.
It always did,
But it didn't. Oh, but now I guess the big thing is Tranquil Windlace.
Yeah, so now you can go Tranquil Windlace, Windlace,
and you can be super
or rather
fast.
Windlace into Tranquils and then another Windlace. Yeah.
That's the
and then be mega speed.
So basically, my question to you is like, I'm a
ready.
Crystal Maiden. We're winning the game. We're gonna take our second set of racks. I have 2K gold after all my. Like, after Blink, after BKB, after Glimmercape.
Hell yeah,
I'm going to buy drums. I'm going to buy drums.
Yeah, why
Because, when is the time to buy drums where you're not in necessarily a winning position?
So I feel like, I like drum as a concept, and I really want it to be good. Like, the stats it has move speed, and as you know, I'm a fucking huge move speed, fetishist.
And aura move speed as well, so...
Yeah, and aura move speed too, and it's flat, so it works with the multiplicative things. Like Razor Drum is something that some people get sometimes because he has like built-in 16% move speed, and then if you get like a Yasha or an SNY or something, like that 20 easily goes into like 30 and like almost 40 depending on what kind of wild ass items you decide to buy, phase boot, active, whatever. But yeah, like it's decent. It's just that like it's 1,600 gold, and it's pretty piecemeal, I think is the word you use a lot. And so it's like not too hard to build up. It's just like I don't know, man. Compare like
it feels like there's a better item. It feels like Yasha. Like it's Yasha isn't too far of a leap away. 360 gold.
And then it builds into Manta or whatever, sure. And
like Sanj or
And then, as a hero that's not going to build that sort of thing, like like on a Crystal Maiden, you could get Drum for like 20 move speed and then 6 health and then like almost half an armor, maybe kind of, but do you the move speed's nice, but it's only like 120 health and half an armor, and like the 3 damage you don't really care about. The 6 int, like the mana pool's kind of nice, I guess. The active is really good, don't get me wrong, but and then like 50% mana regen, like kind of whatever. And then compare that to like Glimmercape, like, oh, what if you could fucking turn invisible? That would save your life a lot. That Drum wouldn't, like, and then
there's attack speed on Glimmercape,
and it's got 20 attack speed.
Yeah. So. Can you think of a hero that is like the
Drum sucks.
champion of drums?
I don't know. I like that's a question for Sam, because Sam is always, or Ursanity is always trying to get Drum to work on some hero. I think he likes it on Razor right now, as I was saying. But
well, I know
like,
he built it on Razor. I know he built it on Razor when we were playing recently. So,
oh, did he? Yeah, that game sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just because the game was awful or what.
There's a lot of distraction during that game.
Yeah,
and
there
lot
certainly
of
was.
Technical bullshit. We couldn't hear you guys. It was so horrible, dude.
Oh, that's not surprising.
You. Yeah.
Anyway,
and it was bad. So.
Okay, yeah, regardless. Anyway, I don't know if Drum is like actually good on Razor, if that's just something that happened. Like, it used to be, Drum is one of those items that it gives kind of a little bit of everything, and it fills out, like, it used to anyways give a little bit of everything. It gave like health regen, int, mana, a little bit of agi, attack speed, even though, because it didn't give a lot of agi, but it did give attack speed, so it's just like, fuck it, get a Drum. And it's an aura, like, it's sick. And like Jug would get it all the time and whatever, but it's been going back and forth between like absurd, like when I first started playing Dota, literally every game, every single carry within that, like, this is not hyperbole. It was you would see Juggernaut. No, it was the carries were like Gyro, PL, and Luna, and then Lifestealer I don't think really went. No, Lifestealer went Drum sometimes, and Sven went sometimes, but it was like those three heroes. It was Tranquil Brute, Drum literally every game, because Tranquil Brute used to be broken as shit, and it just had an active on it, and like the heal on it was just an active, and you'd press it, and it would just like half salve you every like 20 seconds or some stupid shit. Yeah, Tranquil Boots used to just be an infinite use salve. I don't fucking know why, but it was. So you didn't need any health regen on any hero, so you would just get Drum, and it had like 9 to all stats or some stupid shit like that.
It had 9 agility for a while. I don't know what it was way back then, but it had the 9 agility for a second.
It had 9 int for a while recently, but way back when it was 9 to literally everything. It was 9 int, 9 strength, 9 agi, 3 damage, 10 move speed, 5% or 10 attack speed, 5% move speed aura, and the active charges. And then they nerfed it to shit, and then they kept buffing it again, and then they nerfed it to shit again, and now it's shit. But yeah, it used to be absurdly good, but now it just kind of gives like, it's just back and forth. Like, either it's going to give you way too much of everything and get nerfed soon, or it doesn't give you enough of anything and it's just going to be mediocre.
So finding the balance with that item is a tall order for Valve, I guess.
Yeah, and as we said, like, what you want from a hero is someone who takes advantage of every aspect of that item, right? So, but Drum is just such, like, since it gives everything, it's really hard to find one hero that takes use of literally everything, right? Like, heroes are specialized since they have spells that make them want certain things, right? No one just wants everything.
For sure.
But it does give flat move speed, which is relatively unique, so maybe Razor gets it, and that's all I would say.
For sure. Okay, this is an item that is super cool.
And super bad. Oh,
Vladimir's offering. By the way, there is not an I between Vlad and Mir's.
Yeah, right?
It is Vladimir's offering.
Yeah, not Vladimir.
I never
Vlad.
knew this.
Yeah, well,
I always thought it was Vladimir's.
Nope, this is Vladimir.
Vladimir's offering.
Yeah. So this item is cool. It used to give 5 armor, now it gives 4 because 5 was really good. And it's kind of expensive. And one of the cool things about it that is gone now is that it used to be very unique, that the lifesteal it gained was not a unique attack modifier, which, if you're listening to Dota and started playing recently, is something that doesn't really exist anymore really for the most parts.
Yeah, it might be gone altogether here soon.
Yeah, in a week, there's just not going to be any left, which is cool. It's like a fucking outdated, shitty mechanic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, it used to be like, oh, I can buy Deso and then get lifesteal with Vlad. It's fucking wild. So like, if Ursa wanted Deso because he wanted to kill everyone in 3 hits instead of 4, you could get Vlad's and still have lifesteal. But now that's mostly gone. The only hero I think.
Remember, it used to work on melee. It was only melee.
Yeah, it used to only be melee lifesteal too. But now it's like, now it's still like, it's 15% melee and 10% range. Like, whatever. Yeah. So it's just like, so it gives lifesteal. So maybe if your carry doesn't have room in their itemization for lifesteal, like Tiny actually is pretty into lifesteal as a concept. It's just like, he's so fucking slot starved. He has no way to get health regen back in an ideal 6 slot on Tiny. But if your support has Vlad's, like, oh cool, now my carry has lifesteal and doesn't need to buy, a fucking satanic.
I feel like it's like, you've got to cross it off on your team list. Like, okay, do we have a pipe? Yep. Do we have Vlad's? Yep. Like, if we're going like super late game, right? Like, super late game, somebody's got to have a Vlad's.
Yeah.
If
you have a carry that wants lifesteal, it gives 4 armor and an aura. So like, if you're against Bristleback and TA and you're like, shit, we keep taking all this fucking physical damage, this fucking sucks. There's only so many, like, Assault Cuirass is a armor aura of, what is it, 5? Yeah, it's only 5. So yeah, Vlad's gives almost as much of an armor aura as AC. It doesn't stack with Bassi though, so it's not like you can get Bassi for 2 and then Vlad's for 4. It's like, okay, so you get Vlad, so you have 4 armor for everyone, and then your fucking your Sven, because we all still have Svens on our team, have an AC that gives 10 armor, and then you have someone that has mech or Greaves or whatever, and then the Greaves active is giving you what, 15 fucking armor? Holy 15
shit! Armor, yeah,
yeah,
and 15 HP regen, dude,
and 2 armor from the aura. So Guardian Greaves has an armor aura of 2 and an active of 15. Holy shit! So yeah, so once you get like. Yeah, so the Vlad's is how you, it's one way that you can beef up your team's armor. And then it also gives them all 15% damage, which depending on the carries on your team, like if you have a Terrorblade, Terrorblade's going to have like 200 base damage. Tiny has fucking like 300 base damage because of his ulti.
Yeah, 350 or something like that.
Yeah, like some stupid wild amounts. Yeah, and so Vlad's gives him like 40% or plus 40 damage, 45, some shit like that. Yeah, so it's, I mean, it's, yeah, so if you have a bunch of like guys who are, you know, right clicking and a lot of base damage, if they want lifesteal, if you need armor, Vlad's does a lot of these things. It also gives you just like passive sustain. So it's nice for like one of these, like someone who has some business right clicking because you're not always around your team and it's not entirely viable to get an item that only helps other people. That's like a nice concept, but it doesn't really work out too well. So if you're a hero that might want lifesteal, might want some armor, a little bit more sustain, something like that, or has the ability to really stick around in a fight for a long time, that's when you would want a Vlad's. But you're also a hero who like may be interested in mech, but mech is a little too prohibitive in its mana cost. So a hero like Faceless Void offlane was a great example. Faceless wants the lifesteal to be able to farm repeatedly. A little bit of mana regen on it is nice. It's 0.8 instead of the 0.65 of a is Bassi 6.5 or 6? It's 6.5, yeah. So it has a little bit of mana regen. So if you're interested in a Bassi early game or whatever, you need a little bit of mana regen. Vlad's is also good for that. Yeah, and like, the damage aura is good. Void is going to be around right-clicking. He's going to be next to your other right-clicking carry because that's how the game works. And he's going to be around a long time in a fight because Void has the ability to backtrack and keep his survivability up and undo damage. And those are the kind of heroes you want Vlads with. And so that normally means either a 4, some sort of like tanky roaming boy, or on some sort of offlaner. So like,
what about Spirit Breaker Vlad's? Like, because Spirit Breaker's running straight into the fight. Like, it feels like Spirit Breaker might be a great Vlad carrier.
He's pretty good. The one thing I would say about Breaker is that he already has a ton of armor, so his armor isn't quite as necessary. And you may be looking for like, because like Spirit Breaker's main issue is that he's kind of like Axe, where if you ever get to the point where you can actually just get burst down out of nowhere, you're no longer disrupting the fight majorly, right? And Spirit Breakers, his only defenses are just that he's naturally tanky. And then also anyone near him when he's charging gets stunned, but whatever. So oftentimes on Breaker, you're going to want to build items that dissuade them from killing you. But if they're doing a lot of physical damage, then yeah, maybe Vlad's is good. But if it's like, oh, I go into them and then they have a support Lena for some fucking reason, and then they Light Strike Array, Dragon Slave, and then this Ogre Magi Qs and ignites me, and then I'm at like 30% health already. Then instead you might say, oh, instead of that, I'm gonna get like a Blade Mail to reflect all that damage, or I'm just gonna like rush a BKB, or I want to get Echo Saber to double bash real quick, or to rather guarantee a bash on my charge or some shit like that. Like Spirit Breaker has a lot of things about him that make you want other items. Yeah, like the bash synergizes great with Echo Saber, or maybe just like BKB, right? But a hero like Abaddon, who there's no way to you don't.
Ab is a great Vlad.
Yeah, Ab is fantastic because like his survivability from borrowed time, you don't need to itemize around it. It's just like no matter what, outside of getting silenced and Slark breaks you and you don't manually activate your borrowed time. Borrowed time's going to go off. You're always going to live at least 6 seconds no matter how much damage is done. So you're always going to be able to provide some amount of Vlads. And also you need to be close to be dropping your Aphotic Shields and shit. Like, yeah, it's a super good for him. But like Spirit Breaker, yeah, I definitely agree. It definitely is good situational. You can totally go on this hero, and I would consider it any game for sure. But you may also be in situations where like, shit, I just need a Blade Mail because every time I charge in, they do a bunch of damage to me, and I want them to take damage instead. Whereas a Vlad's like, if you charge in by yourself first, and then you wait for your team to follow up, like your Vlad's isn't doing shit, right? Like you're first in, Spirit Breaker is kind of first in, first out, and what you want with Vlad's is first in, last out. Yeah. You want a Q.
No, that's good. That's good. That's a really good explanation. And it's funny to see this switch from Vlad's. It felt like Vlad's was this like, and I know you hate this, but it felt like Vlad's was like being built on PA, was being built on these cores, and now it's feeling like Vlad is being like push down the totem pole, right?
Yeah.
Of farm priorities, where it's like, okay, the 5 or the 4 can get the Vlads.
Yeah.
Because I don't have slots for it, but it's super good and we need it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
thing.
The other thing with Vlad's is also it's like a dead end item, right? And it's also team oriented. So if you do want to get it on a core, like PA, which I really hated it on, it kind of works on safely in PA. Completely garbage. Never do that. As mid, it was like kind of okay because oftentimes you're gonna hit mid game with a PA, and you're gonna hit mid game, and the idea is that you're gonna take your mid and you're gonna go around and kill everyone. And if PA is grouped with their team the whole time, yeah, Vlad's is totally cool.
The Viper thing, once again, but just a different item.
Sure, yeah.
Different item, different hero.
An item that affects everyone, which is like often what a utility item is, you know, like it has a nice aura. Or rather, something that is affecting everyone is usable by almost everyone, right? Because it's not like, oh, lifesteal, have to pick up a guy who needs lifesteal. No, it's a lifesteal aura, I have to pick it up when I'm on a team with someone who needs lifesteal. A lot more general. Anyone can pick it up as long as there's someone on the team who can use it. Yeah. Okay.
And especially those 70-minute games, you guys, if you're wondering what to buy and you're like a 4, get Vlad's. Like, make sure you're not doubling up, obviously, but like if there's no Vlad's on your team, I promise you it's going to be good. Yeah. And so many times have I been in a 70-minute situation and I'm on like tree, and I'm like, oh god, we don't have a Vlad's, and I just buy a Vlad's real quick, and it's like, oh wow, these fights seem a lot more manageable now.
Yeah, the 4 armor aura, like honestly, armor auras, kind of hard to say, but it's so good. Oh yeah, and 15% damage. Yeah, with the right heroes, like if you have a PA who has like maybe 100 base damage when she's 25, then it's not too great. But if you have like, you know, Sven stacking a ton of strength, Tiny, Terrorblade, any agi carry really, like Juggernaut, fucking Slark, holy shit, Slark with the, like, he gets a bunch of essence shifts stacked up, and then you put a Vlad's next to him, and he's like, whoa, shit, and he just kills that. It's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, any agi hero loves it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're a core that wants lifesteal and you're going to group up early, like on Troll, it's pretty good. And if you don't have another good lifesteal option, like Troll either goes flat mask or Vlad's or Satanic, right? He's never going to go a Mask of Madness because he needs to be switching. Like you can't silence yourself as Troll. Like you're switching between melee and ranged. Plus your other spells, like you're not going to Mask of Madness. But Vlad's is like, it's pretty good. Gives you a lot of shit. Armor, whatever, health, helps you group. And Troll has that like ulti that's really good when he's with his team. Well, not with his team because it's global, but you know, he has a thing that affects everyone. Makes sense. Yeah, you want to, sure, whatever.
I think it has to do with attack speed.
It does indeed give him attack speed, and it gives everyone attack speed, mass amount of attack speed. Dude, we used to run me and Skrunk are one of our classics. We had me on Magnus, him on Tiny, but then there's also the Troll Tiny where he would just like backdoor towers and shit. It was great. And I just ult randomly, and they're like, "Why did the troll ult sound happen?" Oh, Tiny's killing a Rax.
Oh yeah,
for no
you
reason.
talked to me about that. Yeah, I
dude,
remember you
Tiny troll.
About this.
What a life.
That's cool.
But Tiny sucks now, so we don't do anything together.
Yeah, poor Tiny.
Right.
Okay, our last item of the night, and then we'll get to the item we were going to get to first.
Oh wait, how long? I think we should just go to Necro. What else is there to talk about? We're at like an hour.
We're a little over an hour.
I know. I'm like cutting you off 2 shows in a row now.
I'm a little tired.
Yeah, I'm super thirsty. I haven't really drank water today, so
let's talk about. Let's hit the pipe first, and then then you can do that. Let's hit the pipe.
Okay.
Pipe of Insight, 8 HP regeneration, 30% magic resistance.
Hoof gives shit.
So already it's giving you. What does that make me? If I'm just a regular hero, I have 55% magic resist with pipe.
So it's multiplicative. Is the way it works. And the aura is also multiplied in there. So I mean, also pipe is hood first, right? So oftentimes when you think about an item like pipe or greaves, you want to say that have like a big component into them. Like also Bloodthorn, like, oh, I want Bloodthorn because I naturally am an Orchid carrier. I want pipe because I'm also a natural hood carrier. Unless it's like, hey, someone build a pipe, this tinker sucks. And then you have to build a pipe even if you're not a natural hood carrier. But the people who are like gonna naturally build a pipe, the people that pipe is good on, are the people who naturally are gonna want a hood. You don't really naturally want a headdress. It's just not a good item at base. But hood is super solid at base.
Yeah. And I see it all the time. Like, oh shit, tinker, buy a hood, or I think there's a better example.
No. Like let's say you're against like Coddle and Tinker, and you try to high ground, and then just like one march and a Coddle Blast takes your entire creep wave like 3 times in a row, and you're like, I think we need a pipe for this one, boys. And then you a pipe.
Or, I mean, a classic example being Ancient Apparition, although he was like one of the only heroes not picked in Kiev.
Yeah, because that's the only way to, like if someone gets AA blasted, they're not dead yet. Like the only way to stop them from ticking out, like you can't heal them. You just gotta pipe it.
Yeah, pipe is the only way you can save somebody from crumbling into shards of ice. Yep. So do you feel like Pipe of Insight is another one of those items that's like if we're running a 70-minute game, no matter what, we should have it?
No.
No?
And what if you're not against a lot of magic damage? I mean, it's an expensive item, right?
And you're always going to be dealing with magic damage.
Not always. Okay, yeah, let's say that they have off bristle, mid TA, and then like a safe lane Terrorblade or something. What am I going to do with a pipe?
Yeah, I guess that's true. And you're not too worried about the first volley of spells from the supports because you're good and you have BKBs or something like that.
Or like their Lena has an Ags and now she's just Laguna blading for pure. And they have an offlane Omni. And she deals a lot of damage with purification, but it's pure. You're against
Okay, so common times to build a Pipe of Insight. Like common heroes that we're seeing where it's like, go pipe.
One thing is they do magic damage to themselves. That's why Centaur loves pipe. Because he's double-edging himself. And you know what's a good counter to hitting yourself for 400 magic damage? Instead, only hitting yourself for 200 magic damage. Okay, so for some numbers for magic resist, so here's a base magic resist shirt. When they have a hood, they go up to 47% magic resist. When they have a pipe, they go up to 52.75 magic resist. So almost 53% magic resist, which is crazy strong. That's a large amount of magic resist.
How's that working?
I think it's multiplicative, right?
If it's multiplicative, it wouldn't.
Because it's okay. So standard puts you at you take 75% magic damage at a base, and 75 divided by
25% magic damage at a base.
No, you resist 25, so the remaining damage that you take is 75.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not like I don't think it's 0.25 times point. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be like 0.25 times 4 or whatever. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know this offhand. I just don't know the fucking actual numbers to it, which always distresses me whenever I say that shit. Yeah. Let's see. So how much is Hood? Hood gives you how much resistance? It gives 15%. You 25 on Hood. Yeah, not Cloak Hood. Yeah.
Hood of Defiance, which obviously builds into Pipe, and we kind of skipped over that, which is definitely a good gateway drug for the Pipe of Insight for Centaur, and it is basically for Centaur. Yeah. I thought Centaur takes no damage when he double edges, and he has
nope.
He still takes 200.
Yeah, I think double edge doesn't do half damage to yourself, right? It's like full.
I'm not sure. Honestly.
Yeah, damaging himself and a small area. Yeah, so he does take full. Yeah, but if he does have if he has a hood, it goes down to almost only 50%. And then also you have a ton of like health regen happening too because of your pipe and your tranquils or whatever going on, or your hood rather. So it you heal yourself up from it really quickly.
Yeah. Good item. So what are some common heroes basically that say I'm playing like I'm not playing a centaur. I'm playing a hero.
Yeah, you're not playing centaur or whatever.
I'm playing like a 4, say. Yeah. And I'm determining whether or not I should get some other utility item or Pipe of Insight.
So there's a lot of heroes that are okay. So also one thing to note in terms of pipe increasing your the main point of pipe and hood is to increase your survivability against magic damage, right? Like it's pretty fucking obvious. That's all it really does. Gives you some health regen too. So compare that to an item like fucking Ogre Club, right? So if I'm like a 300 health hero, which doesn't exist, but let's just pretend, and getting a hood bumps my magic resist from 25% to 50. So that means that so if I have fucking all right, let's say I'm 1,000 health hero, all right, and then I have base magic. Yeah, I'm trying to do some easier math. That's also something where I'm not talking about a 300 health hero that doesn't exist. A support at level 15 or something when you could feasibly buy one of these items. Like a 4 is probably going to hit 1,000 health, right? Okay, so if you have 25% magic resist or whatever, that means you only take 75% of the magic damage that is dealt to you. Shit.
So you're down to 700. You take 250 damage.
So you have 250 more health or some shit like that, right? That's yeah, okay. But if you are a 500 health hero, you only it lets you take 150 or Yeah, 125 more health or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure the number's a little bit different. I think you calculate off the 75 to the 25. Anyway, doesn't really matter. The principle is the same. The more health you have, the more pipe is going to do for you, right? Whereas an item like mech is a lot more like, yes, it has armor built into it, but you can see if you have less health, it's 250. 250, like if you have a low health pool, 250 is a shit ton. Whereas if you have a low health pool, like whatever percentage is not that big a deal. So on pipe, you want a hero that at least magic resist percentage wise. You want it to be a hero that that already has a lot of health, because pipe increases your survivability, gives you no flat HP. So it needs to be like, all it is addressing is the magic damage your current health pool is taking. So you need to have a fine health pool, and you need to almost only be worrying about magic damage. It doesn't help about fucking physical at all. So typically heroes that that are already fine against physical, and have a lot of health built in, also have a lot of gold, and also, as we said, mech is like good. You know, you're talking about as Viper. Oh, I pop mech and I save my team early game. Like early game, it's mostly still just fucking magic damage, right? But it's just the health that's important. So like, the main thing is that, or rather, the main difference between pipe and mech, at least early game, is that pipe is like free, right? It's like fucking 50 mana or some shit like that. 70?
100 mana.
100 mana. Okay. And what is hood? Is the hood also 100? Let's see. Let's look at hood. Can we look at hood real quick?
Yeah.
What is hood?
Looking at hood. Hood is 75.
75. Okay, and then pipe is 100. Yeah, which is fine. It's like scaling. You get hood early and then pipe. Yeah. So like, you may be a hero that would like mech, but mech's too prohibitive in its mana cost, and pipe is a lot less. So it needs to be a hero that has a lot of health. Maybe you could make use of the health regen, and your physical defenses aren't too bad, or at least they don't really matter this game. So if you think about, and you were right to say like 4s, it's really good on 4s because they all have a bunch of health, like a Spirit Breaker with hood or pipe or whatever. Like Spirit Breaker, that's great. Spirit Breaker is going to be in the middle of shit. He doesn't have a ton of mana, but he can like pop pipe, and he'll survive way longer. He's got a lot of armor base. Undying, another great pipe builder. His Decay costs a shit ton of mana. His Tombstone costs a good amount. His ulti costs a good... Like, he has 4 spells that he's trying to spam. Well, 2 spells he's trying to spam, 4 spells to cast. So yeah, Undying's great. Underlord, another good hero. His spells are pretty expensive. Maybe someone else is going mech. Oh, I'll just get pipe. It's pretty much the same heroes that want mech also want pipe. It's just the fact that... they can go pipe or rather they'd rather get pipe if mana or if magic damage is the big issue, or if they don't quite have the mana to afford a mech or something like that.
I feel like Tidehunter is like another good example where
it's like,
okay, what does the team need? I've got my basics, right? Like I've got what I need to be Tidehunter. What do we need as a team? Oh my god, we're dealing with Tinker, we're dealing with Storm, I guess.
Storm is a little bit of a mix.
Yeah,
it's
Storm's
like
less, I know.
Lena, Coddle.
Lena, Coddle. Like the AoE magic, right?
Yeah, and also it affects everyone, right? So it's mostly against AoE damage. Like if you're against, if the only magic damage on their team is a Skywrath mage, and he's just like spam arcane bolting one person, like pipe's probably not what you need here. You probably just need that one person to get a BKB or something like that. But if it's like mass wild AoE damage, like fucking Jakiro and Tinker and Necro Jakiro, all on the same team, like Necro, fucking just shit like that. Okay,
so pipe of insight against Tinker every single time.
Almost, yeah. Like it's really hard to push against a Tinker without pipe. Like, and also you can pipe affects creep waves too. So like, and it can be popped preemptively, and it lasts for like 30 seconds. So if you are against the Tinker,
oh no, wait, that's the cooldown. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was just saying it. Yeah, it lasts around for a little while. Maybe is it 30? I feel like it's long. 30. It should say, right? Ideally. Duration 12. It only lasts 12, so there goes that.
It feels like 12 seconds feels like 30 seconds though.
In
but
Dota,
like a wave pushing up the stairs and you hit pipe on that wave, that means that it's going to survive. You reach high ground.
Yeah, it lasts longer than your 10-second BKB, and we all know how long your 10-second BKB is. So that's all you need to know about that. And so Yeah, that's how it works. Like, you're gonna push high ground, you pop pipe. Oh yeah, you also get it against Zeus. What the fuck? You get it against Zeus. Yeah. You always get it against Zeus. As it gets, literally every fucking game, you get it against Zeus. Also good against like Radiance builders. It's super good against Spectre. Like Spectre haunts, you pop pipe. All you got to do is all hump each other, and then all you're worried about is like Desolate's gone, Radiance is gone. Maybe she has a Diffusal, but mostly it's just the shitty little right clicks that who cares about? Who gives a shit about that? Yeah.
Okay,
so
guys.
That's pipe.
Tune in next week to listen.
So we're not
to learn
doing
about.
Necro. I knew it.
No, we're not doing Necro.
Told you.
Tune in next week to learn about Necronomicon, Yule's Scepter of Divinity, the big one, Solar Crest, Rod of Atos, Orchid. We're gonna go through Ags. Ags is a utility item. In some
I don't know
case.
we're doing that.
Yeah, that's gonna take up a lot of time. We're gonna cross Ags off that list.
Yeah, that's not what happened.
Refresher. We're gonna go through the rest. We will finish this. This is a big task, and then I think what we should do is we should switch right over and go into like damage items, or you know.
No,
what I mean?
Let's do something
rest.
different. I don't want to just fucking cover items for a year and a half. Then we're the item show.
I know.
No, so after we're done with this shit, we're gonna go back over.
This has been so helpful for me.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
That's good for you though.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not know that Vlad's gave 15% extra damage.
Well, you didn't know it had an I in it either, so I think that's the more interesting thing that you learned.
I knew that it didn't have an I in it before.
Oh, you did?
That's why I brought that up. I did know that before.
I thought you just learned it. Okay,
no,
that's my bad.
I did not ever take the 5 seconds of time to read that it does 15% aura damage increase.
Yeah, that's another reason why I hated it on PA. Like, she doesn't have fucking base damage. She builds Deso. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, when you were saying that, I was like, it's good. I don't know what he's talking about. But now it makes a lot more sense, and I feel like...
For mid PA, it was okay, but...
Not good on PA, but whatever. Anyway, we are Defense of the Patients. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting us. Patreon still is the only route of income. Amazon is something that we just got a new banner picked up. Long story. We'll keep it short. Also, like we talked about, the store is going to help us directly. Once again, thank you so much to our anonymous donor for getting Defense of the Patients to TI. I will read one quote that said, .p should be a TI. That's basically
what a quote.
That's paraphrasing, but they mentioned that they felt that we bring enough value to the Dota 2 community that we should be at TI. So much appreciated.
What are you playing these days? Like, what heroes?
I'm not playing Dota at all.
That's good content.
What heroes I'm playing? So I do play Dota. When I say I'm not playing Dota at all, that means I'm like getting like 2 games a day.
That sounds rough.
I've been playing. So when I found out about the camps, right, with 7.06,
yeah,
I immediately picked Sven back up and started stacking ancients like a madman, and was going Helm of Dominator, which was bad, and I was losing. And then I stopped doing that, and then went the SNY, like the normal shit.
Madness,
Mask of Madness, SNY, and then I started getting some wins on that. Playing some Slark, as you know.
Slark's good.
And then I had my very first game of 7.06 was a Viper game. Because Viper just happened to be good in this circumstance, and I happened to be the one that was going mid. And my deny game was like so good, and I out-leveled the other mid by 2 levels with no kills, just by denies and last hits. So it was really fun. The heroes that I'm playing to win, and then what I'm planning on doing to climb MMR, I'm just gonna stick with Tree for a little while. Me and Tree get along really well. You know, my hype and his unhype cancel each other out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very nice balancing act, and I love that it's a root now. Playing around with him,
roots are better now.
Yeah. Well, it was a bash before technically. Now it's
his right click is a root instead of a bash.
Yeah, well, coming out of invisibility, it's a root now. Yeah.
Is it? I fucking missed that note.
That just got changed. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a lot of fun, and I love the diversity with utility items on Tree, because Tree can either play really poor or can be the richest hero in the game. So I love that aspect.
Oh yeah, dude. A full disarming root.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty amazing. So I've had some games on that as well. So
well, I mean, it's worse, but it's still good.
It's worse, but it's still good. And Tree is if you play Tree like super aggro, you're it's gonna pay dividends. Yeah. If you know, and I feel like he's like first pick worthy, and you just gotta watch out for a Timber.
Yeah, I mean after like Monkey King and Earth Spirit got their shit nerfed, like all the other roamers are now so much more high profile. Like Tree, Ricky, Bounty, Spirit Breaker, Night Stalker, Slardar, all super good right now.
For sure. Twitch.tv/.ptv. You can find me streaming there, usually in the afternoon EST. I put a time on it, but life, and that's all I'm going to say there. Make sure you tune in for our 12-hour stream. This is going to be different. We don't need to fundraise for TI anymore. Once again, thank you. We literally are humbled. Like, that is an amazing... I wish we could talk about you, but we can't. What else am I missing here?
I don't
know. There's more plugs to be had, but I'm not gonna
listen to another show. I'm sure they'll get them.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Tuesday Q&A with Ursi and I. Tune into that. I'm going to really try and I'm just gonna ask him, can I speak now? Or maybe I'll just do this little raise hand thingy that we have.
That's not gonna
just
work.
be like,
he's not
just leave that up. Yeah. I don't know. Like, just I'm getting people that are like, quit cutting Ursi off, and I'm like, then I just won't speak because I don't know how.
Yeah.
Like, I literally don't know how not to.
He does go too long about a lot of things. I'll be truthful with you.
Well, it's good content, but it's like I need to move things along on Tuesday Q&A. Well. Like, it's it's a Q&A show. It's not a one question and anyway. I love Ursi to death. Shout out to Ursi.
Okay.
Anyway, this is Roland for Proud saying you should build pipe against Zeus every single time.
Yep. Okay.